The information discussed in this PILCast episode are merely opinions and do not constitute formal policy or legal guidance of any kind.
Hello, and welcome to another PILCast, the video blog where we talk about important procurement concepts in 10 minutes or less. We guarantee it. I'm Sandra Oliver Schmidt with the PIL.
And I'm Tony Pellegrino, a contracting officer with the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services.
We're going to talk to you about a technique called affordability. When teams receive proposals from vendors, sometimes many of the price proposals are way off base. They're either too high or too low.
That's right, Sandra. Sometimes our requirement documents alone, they fail to convey the true scope of the work, which makes it difficult for vendors to provide a relevant and appropriate price.
Now, to use the affordability technique, the government provides vendors with a target price or a narrow price range to reduce the gamesmanship in the bid and proposal process. So if the independent government cost estimate is, say, $75 million, then consider posting an affordability range of $70 million to $80 million and actually put that in the solicitation. Now, the government can select a vendor with a price that's under, in between, or over the target or the range, like any best value trade-off analysis. Now, Tony, you recently used the affordability technique. How did you use it, and what did it look like in practice?
So this slide shows the actual language that I used in our solicitation. I went ahead and I told the vendors the government's estimated range or affordability. I'll read the language I priced in the solicitation. To assist offerors with assessing the magnitude of services to be performed during contract performance and to develop a resource-loaded performance work statement, the government estimates that approximately 9.5 million to 11.5 million of services are required to meet all requirements in a calendar year.
Now, Tony, why did you choose to share this price range with the vendors? And even more than that, why did you go so far as to put it in the solicitation itself?
So first, Sandra, this was a FAR 16.505 task order. It was a procurement, and it was also set aside for small companies. We were buying testing services for IT software, and that involves a lot of high-skilled labor. We released a SOO, a statement of objectives, and we asked the vendors to submit a brief written proposal on experience and past performance, along with a 50-page PWS. So rather than risk having these small companies completely miss the mark on the price, we gave them our affordability to help make it clear what our scope of services would be. As you know, in the government, sometimes there's a lot more capacity than there is funding, right? So we tried to give them what the scope of the services, were. So it really also assisted the small companies in determining if they needed to partner with some other companies in order to do the work, because again, we were looking for highly skilled labor.
Now, I suppose the FAR does not prohibit us from sharing our affordability with vendors. And I noticed that this language was very careful to make it clear that the estimated price range was not a price ceiling or a price floor, but merely an estimate.
That's right, Sandra. So for this procurement, the vendors, they needed something in order to fully understand the magnitude of the work, because again, they really want to know in some range, right? How much testing, how many FTEs, or how many people do we really think are needed to really complete the full scope of those testing services.
So in the end, after you made the award, what was the price of the winning vendor?
Yeah, so it was $45 million over a 4-year and 8-month period, which was close to the lower end of the affordability range that we provided in the solicitation, if you calculate it out for all of, for the base period and for the option years. And, the vendor prices were very comparable because of that range. So they were much more closely aligned than what we were used to. And it really allowed us to focus on the technical factors as the true discriminators for the best value, because we had a lot of confidence in the reasonableness of the prices that we received. And just to be clear, so that 45 million, that was negotiated. We also used one of your PIL techniques of select, best suited, and negotiate. So actually that price with the offer was 5% higher.
Oh, very interesting. Well, maybe we'll have another PILCast soon on how to use select, best suited, and negotiate. I'm glad you shared that, Tony.
Sounds good, because it was a really good technique.
Awesome. I hope we see you again then. Now, back to affordability. The FAR is silent on this technique of sharing a range of expected price or a target price. Now, remember, the FAR Part 1.102-3 tells us that if a policy or procedure or a particular strategy or practice is in the best interest of the government, and it is not specifically addressed in the FAR nor prohibited by law, executive order, or other regulation, government members of the team should not assume it's prohibited. Rather, absence of direction should be interpreted as permitting the team to innovate and use sound business judgment.
Right. And, FAR Part 1, it really goes on to say that contracting officers should take the lead in encouraging business innovations and ensuring that the business decisions are sound.
Now, after award, as your PIL coach, we reached out to all the vendors who participated in the procurement to see what they had to say about the affordability technique as it was used in this USCIS procurement.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that one vendor said something along the lines of affordability or a government estimate really helps. Keep doing that. And another vendor said, we're going back and forth on questions about price usually, or really about what the scope should be. So just put it out there. We're going to find out about it anyway.
And I see another vendor said, price is always the most difficult part of any proposal submission. Anytime the government can provide an independent government cost estimate or a target, it's always beneficial.
Yeah, so Sandra, I really think the key takeaway here is that if you provide affordability in the solicitation, it's beneficial for both sides, right? For government and for the private sector. We on the government side receive price proposals that are more aligned and not really all over the place. And vendors, especially the small companies, are better able to understand the anticipated magnitude of the effort. That helps them really to make a decision on whether to invest their bid and proposal costs in that particular solicitation.
Now, the affordability technique and real sample documentation can be found on the periodic table of acquisition innovations at www.fai.gov. Thank you, Tony, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. If you found this video to be of interest to you, then please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and keep the comments coming. We will see you on our next PILCast episode. Bye-bye.